Hello and welcome, fellow comrade. Today I'm going to talk about the Islamic expansion for CK2. For this expansion, we gotta rework on one important area in these times, the Muslims. So we have the ability to play with Muslim characters. We have new mechanics for Muslims such as decadence and the ability to have a lot of wives. That is as well possible with other types of religion. And then we have unique casus belli that are going to be very powerful when you want to expand. And when I say powerful, this means that this is one of the religions that have the more possibility for you to expand very, very quickly and aggressively. These are the interesting characters that you are going to be recommended for you to play. Al-Mutanzir from Egypt in 1066, Sultan Orhan of the Turks, late Middle Ages 1337, Sultan Suleiman of Rum in 1081, and Sultan Saladin of course in the Third Crusade in 1187. We begin with the changes that were made on the interface, in which you have these mosaics that are going to be added in the DLC. We got the food taster. The food taster is the one that tastes the food. They have the dubious pleasure for trying all dishes before their master has a bite. We get the Kurd calligrapher. An Islamic suspicion of figurative art makes skilled calligraphers highly respected. This is one of the titles that you can give to your subjects. A Kurd musician, which is always ready to entertain with soothing or stirring music. The Kurd poet is part as well of the Islamic world. Islamic poets enjoy a great deal of respect and prestige, often religious, but sometimes pushing the limits of what is acceptable under Islam. And we got the chief architect. These guys are responsible for designing and overseeing the construction of palaces, mosques, and grand monuments. And then we have the chief Qadi, which is the supreme judge and authority of the law in the Muslim realm. The most prestigious of all Muslim honorary titles, it is only open to characters with a proper religious education. So you can give this only to characters that have dutiful cleric or mastermind theologian. All of these to represent the rich cultural and rich art of the times of the Muslims. Now, the other mechanic that you can find with Muslim characters is the wife's mechanic. You have the possibility to get secondary wives, in which, depending on your rank, you're going to be able to have more than two. If you go up to prestige, you can see that you can have 4 wives. You can have your primary wife, and you have other 3 wives here. This is because we are above Sultan, or we are actually the Caliph, and it's going down as you go down into the scale of ranks. For a emir, which is a duke, you're going to be able just to marry up to 3, and so on and so forth. But there is a mechanic here in which you're going to have a hit on prestige if you don't marry the full extent of them. It says here that fewer than 4 wives gives a -3 malus on prestige. So that is going to oblige you to marry the full extent of wives. Now the thing is that the only wife that is going to give you the buffs here is going to be the primary wife. However, each wife can give you heirs. You can have non-aggression pacts with each wife that you marry. You can still see here that it says would result in a non-aggression pact with this and that, even when we have one wife. But even when I request this wife, the primary wife always is going to be the first wife that you marry. You are going to have one and only type of succession, which is the open succession. When you have unlanded sons, this is not going to give you a penalty for having unlanded sons, but there is another mechanic on the Muslims that is going to affect that, and that is dynastic decadence. Dynastic decadence is only going to go down when you grant landed titles to dynasty members or successfully convincing decadent dynasty members to abandon their sinful ways. The other option that we have here is to imprisoning, banishing, or killing decadent members. As you can see, for example, this guy, it says right now in 25, so it's not so decadent. But the fact that he is the son of the caliph and he has no land, that he's going to go and have more time, more spare time to do sinful things, and it's going to contribute to the decadence of the actual dynasty. So this core mechanic here is very, very important. The dynasty is going to begin with 25% decadence. This is going to be the standard, which has no effect one way or another. Doing different decisions, such as go on Hajj to the Mecca, this is going to decrease decadence, and observing Ramadan is going to do the same thing. 0 will give you the maximum bonus of 19% bonus on the income that you get from the domain, and 25% morale bonus for your troops. At level 15, you are going to have domain income of plus 7.3% and a morale of domain troops of 9.2. 32%, which is more than 25, you're going to get minus 2.1 domain income and a minus 5.3%. At 73.9, you get minus 30% in domain income and minus 32.5% in morale of the main troops. If you reach all the way up to 100 decadence, you get the main income of 19% and 48% for morale penalties. 60% you'll get an ambition to reduce decadence, which you can find here. If you go above 75%, you can become a target of an invasion by righteous tribes that are going to declare on you. It's called the decadence usurpation, CB, is to usurp titles from kin with the decadent trait. When you have the Sunni Caliphate title, such as this one, you get the Caliph subjugation. You declare war and you got this subjugation Casus belli. For 200 piety, caliphs that holds the Caliph title are allowed to subjugate all other Muslim rulers of the same denomination once per 10 years, meaning that you can get every single sultanate that is your neighbor with these casus belli, just because you have the right to do that. So the county conquest for Muslims is a CB that costs 50 piety to use, but is usable in any target except your liege. Then we have the invasion casus belli that will cost you 1000 piety. It is going to include as well Muslims for other denominations. Jihad is a very powerful casus belli in which you can get an entire kingdom or sultanate, as the Muslims call it. You are going to get plus 10% moral authority for 20 years just by doing this, gaining a lot of piety and gaining the titles of the actual holder. We got a new model for the Chancellor, or Grand Vizier as it is called for the Muslim factions. Different model for the Marshal. Got the Steward with a green tunic, a Spy Master covered faced with leather boots and a small knife on the hand. And of course we got the court imam with a black tunic. So I hope this guide was very useful. This was a guide for the Islamic expansion for CK2 called the Sword of Islam. If you liked the video, don't forget to give a like, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.